Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mindless Show. Today we're doing music part 2. I'm joined by Laura Kate and Lightning Fingers. I'm Mr. Mindless. Now guess which one's the really weird name? It's obviously Snoopy. Alright, so music. This isn't the one I have my notes on. That's alright. So very soon in the episode you will see Laura Kate performing, what song was it?
Runaway.
Yeah, it's really good. I swear. So what should we talk about? So I've got in mind musicals and performance as a whole. So should we just start with that, I guess? Yeah? Do you know anything about musicals?
Musicals?
Musicals, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, no,
I know a
sing
little.
and dance on stage.
I never really liked musicals. When I was younger, I really just I don't know, I never really got into them. And then as soon as I saw Roald Dahl's Matilda, Tim Minchin, rather, his version of Matilda, I was hooked. It's amazing. You gotta watch it.
I'm not a fan of musicals, but I'm not against them or anything. I haven't seen a musical for a couple of years now, at best. Not including any theatre plays by our high school.
They're not really.
Some of them are. I performed in one.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I performed in Little Shop of Horrors. I did not sing. It's good.
Fortunately.
Fortunately, yes. For everyone's sake.
Yes.
Said I played two instruments, the sax and the clarinet. But I used to go to musicals as a kid. I quite enjoyed them as a kid. I don't know why. I just did. No, I don't think there's any particular reason why I liked them. I just liked to go to them.
Performances,
Yeah, and then I just stopped when I started going to high school.
Yeah, I think we can be a bit of a difference. There are stage musicals and movie musicals. I think the stage musicals, and some of the stage musicals are then made into movie musicals. They can sometimes come across a little bit fake, in the way the actors have to kind of sing. They add this kind of twang to their voice, and I sometimes wonder if that's why certain people don't get into musicals. It doesn't really feel real. You can't connect to it as much.
Yeah.
However, a lot of the music is really, feel good, and it helps to explain the story still. So, there's subjectivity within it, and like anything, I guess there are musical fans, and then people who don't really connect to them, and just different sorts of musicals and different eras. There's the golden era of musicals from the 40s and 50s, and then kind of more cult kind of musicals in the 80s, and the rock musicals, and
We Were Rocky Live in London. I saw that back in 2008. I can't remember a single thing that happened during it, but I don't know, it was fun.
But you saw it.
I saw it. That's what counts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really. I'm really divided about musicals. Sometimes it's the music is there to enrich the story, and I don't know, it really enhances the action, I guess. But then sometimes I feel that the music really pulls you out of the action, and that's when they don't quite get it right.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Sometimes it does kind of stop the flow, and it's just suddenly a song is there.
Yeah, they break into song.
And it's really cheesy.
Yeah. But that's good sometimes.
Sometimes you do have the operas too, where they sing to explain the story throughout the whole thing. And there's also the rock operas, Andrew Lloyd Webber, with Jesus Christ Superstar and Evita, and pretty much most of it is song.
Yeah.
So that's a different thing again, and I guess that creates more of a continuity. Whereas when it's just a song in between with some scenes, it can be a bit cheesy and random at times, I guess. It needs to be placed really well within the story.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the old musical films of late, because it's been on TV. And sometimes they're quite cheesy, they just randomly break into song and dance, and it's very choreographed and everything, and it's one whole big area just for these two people to have this really big, long 5-minute dance scene while they sing. And I was it's nice, but it seems kind of cheesy and
a bit forced.
And a bit forced. For some films, it's okay. I love it. We watched was it Singing in the Rain for testing for audio as one of my subjects in uni, and we watched the whole theatre thing, and it was quite hilarious to watch. I mean, I watched as a kid. It was one of my favourite films as a kid. And it was just hilarious to watch for, not for it being cheesy or for being bad, but just how it all went together so kind of smoothly. It was just very well done, and I was interested by that.
Beauty and the Beast.
Which one?
The most recent one was so
auto-tuned
good.
Emma Watson or the animated?
Yeah, auto-tuned Emma Watson.
Yeah.
I loved it. I adored that.
It's funny, yeah, my singing teacher, she's an opera singer, but yeah, she saw Beauty and the Beast, and she picked on the auto-tuned Emma Watson. She was like, oh, I could tell that, it's not singing.
Yeah, it's a bit too obvious. I mean, I haven't even seen it. I've seen the like honest trailer on CinemaSins thing for it. And, I mean, that's really enough that you need to see, to be honest, unless you've just watched the animated bloody feature. It's good enough. It's actually better. It is. Hey, it's like watching the original Ghost in the Shell to the newest one, because animation can sometimes be better for it, and that's why it's better. Anyway, I was watching the first episode of Game of Thrones for season 7. And there was one scene, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one scene in it where, did you hear that Ed Sheeran was in it?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
The one scene where he pops up, it's so weird because all of a sudden there's just people singing in the background, and Arya is on a horse, she comes in, and so these people are invited to sit down, and Ed Sheeran is one of the people there. And every line that he says, and every part that he sings, like, he only sings this one part, like, just like as friends, just singing whatever at a campfire, it felt very weird. Like, completely took me out of the show, and I know a lot of people who, for the same time, it took them completely out of the show. Not just for the fact that they were singing, which is not an uncommon thing in Game of Thrones. To be happy is an uncommon thing in Game of Thrones.
But for it to be like Ed Sheeran.
For it to be Ed Sheeran, yeah. It just was very weird. And every line was so directed, that he did was so... It felt just very cut out, and just didn't seem right. I don't know.
There was something called the integrated musicals where, that was where they introduced musicals and the music flowed on and it seemed natural. It wasn't just like a random song, and that kind of came in throughout the 40s a bit. And like one of the first was a film called Meet Me in St. Louis, and like they have one of the sisters in the family, she's just walking up the stairs singing the title song, but just like, anyone, like, just singing around the house, it seems really natural. And then they have the sisters also at the piano singing the song, and it's just like, it's real family kind of music. And you can believe it because, it's family sharing the music together. It's not just this random song. It's an experience, and it's an event that they're going to the piano and sharing that moment and just enjoying the music.
How about music in films where, like, not say in Baby Driver how they have music timed, well, everything timed to the music, which is very well done. Like, fucking Edgar Wright is perfect. But say Whiplash and La La Land, for example, I think they're both written and directed by the same guy, or at least I know that the same guy has an association with both. I love the crap out of Whiplash because I very much love percussion, but it itself is about a guy not just learning percussion, but also learning to be better at it, and how that becomes a dynamic between him and his teacher. But and that's an interesting way to integrate music, for it to be an actual character thing, not just like, oh, I'm just randomly going to sing and dance for no reason.
Yeah.
But I question, is La La Land like that? Because I'm yet to see it. I will, but I'm yet to, and I fear it's like that, but not a bad thing. I think it's like homage level, like to old cinema. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it was more, more non-realistic, I guess.
I mean, doesn't
they're just breaking.
Stone just starts floating in the sky for some reason at some stage?
Yes, it's very like I think La La Land, the title, it kind of represents fantasy really. So it's certainly not realistic.
But isn't there? I've heard that there are parts where like the main male dude, I forget his name. Ryan Gosling, that's the one. He's very much into jazz, isn't he? And he's like he describes jazz very like intimately, so it has an intimate level to music, but then it just has this like fantastical level as well. Yeah. I find it to be interesting.
Well, and John Legend's in it too, so.
Yeah.
And so it becomes quite a serious musical film really. It's kind of, they talk about jazz in a very serious way, but then they have the cheesy kind of musical theatre songs in there as well. So it's kind of
Well,
it's got a mixture of a few things. Really.
we all know the best musical is obviously Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I haven't actually seen it.
You're missing out.
Me neither, actually.
You
I guess it's not the best.
You're missing out on a very great both film and also musical.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the musical. I'd rather see the musical first before the film.
Yeah.
I just go watching the film because it all works in the film. It wasn't made as a musical first; it was made as a film.
Yeah.
And the music is designed for the film. I mean, you could still watch it as a musical first. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's seen both, and I think prefers the musical. I don't know. They prefer musicals over films.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see the musical. Basically, everything you just said, I'm still gonna see the musical first.
Go for it. I mean, it's easy to see the film, sure.
Pygmalion.
Tim Curry. Pygmalion, my favourite.
Throwback there.
To literature. Well, yeah, My Fair Lady has been playing in Melbourne, actually. Though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I went to
actually.
see it. It was so good.
Is
Was
that
it
directed by the person who's in it?
Yeah, Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews,
She directed it, and she starred in it originally on Broadway. And
She was going to be in the film,
In the
but
film.
then they cast Audrey Hepburn.
yeah, and she didn't, like, Audrey Hepburn didn't have a great voice, and they dubbed her. And so, but Julie Andrews is so confident, but they chose someone who was a big box office sensation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it kind of worked though, didn't it?
Well, Julie Andrews won the Oscar for Mary Poppins that year, so...
So they could have gotten an Oscar.
Yeah. Yeah. Mary Poppins is a
Yeah.
great film. That's it.
Sorry?
That was a childhood film of mine, Mary
Oh,
Poppins.
that one's a good one.
Another musical.
Another musical, of course.
I watched a lot of musicals as a kid. It's very weird. Wasn't Wizard of Oz a musical? Or at least has songs in it?
Yeah, well, that's interesting because, yeah, it is a musical. It doesn't have a lot of music in it really though, and like Dorothy, she mainly sings over the rainbow.
Yeah.
And
But then you've got The Wiz, the black version of Michael Jackson. Not to say that it being a black version was bad. No, there's just... It's an interesting film.
I haven't seen it.
It's very weird. It's very weird indeed. It's kind of,
The Wiz.
it's lackluster, I'll give it that. It's a very interesting film to watch. Let's move on from musicals to the music videos. I guess that is kind of music. Do you have any? Do you often watch music videos at all?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I tend to just like listen to music more so than watch it up with a video. But sometimes I'll get a
Do you think that the music video enhances the experience?
It depends. Like
I think it depends on the video.
It changes.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just someone sitting in a car.
yeah,
singing.
it does. Sometimes because you can imagine something when you're listening to a song, and you can imagine what the lyrics mean and the whole story of it. But then if the video doesn't match that, you can be a bit disappointed sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
So
some could just be
true.
really cheesy romance thing of a boy and each girl kind of thing in the song, but also in the video. So it
Yeah.
could just be like literally a complete direct. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Or there are some songs which
Where the
in music videos
is really
they
cool.
they expand upon it, they
Yeah.
make it better, or some of them just make it really worse. I love what is it? Ninja Sex Party. Their music videos are extraordinarily cheap. That's kind of the point. It's meant to be they're a comedy rock band or pop rock. I don't know. They do a mixture of music. Mostly about dick jokes. But the creativity that they put into their music videos is absolutely hilarious. Like some of it's just like kind of generic thing of like I said, boy meets girl, but with a really weird, stupid twist of some kind. Mostly being the one of the characters is a ninja and likes to kill people, as you do. But I love their music videos, and it's just great to think of them when you're listening to the music itself.
There are some music videos where, like, there's this one song that I have just recently gotten into, which is an old song. It's called Don't Mug Yourself by the Streets, and it's like this kind of British rapper, really like thick English accent, and I thought that the music video would be like really cool and everything, but I don't know, it was just a real letdown seeing the music video, and kind of it totally changed the way I thought about the song. It was really weird.
I was watching what is it? Green Light by Lord. The music video to that compared to I think is it Tennis Court?
I don't know.
Shit, I can't remember. From her first album, Pure Heroine. I mean, she's already done it too. The music videos are completely different. Like one is like Greenlight is a very poppy song where the girl, kind of in a way, I guess, breaking free, getting the green light to do whatever she wants or something. I don't really know what the hell the song stands for. There's a lot of interpretive meanings from her song, which is really cool. But I always thought that the video was very kind of generic. I mean, it was kind of an obvious for what the song was meant to be, or at least obvious. Whereas Tennis Court is very creepy and daunting. It's just one shot of music happening, and then she sometimes sings the word, but you obviously don't really hear it because it's her just saying it, but it's got the audio from the song on top of it. And the product, the design to everything, the lighting, the makeup and the costuming and everything, creates an atmosphere for it. It's quite very well done. I love music videos, they're just so weird like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty great, actually.
Alt J do some really cool video clips. And because their songs are never really... It's really hard to tell what the meaning of their songs is sometimes. So their music videos is kind of their interpretation of their own songs, and that's awesome because, it's often very different to the way that you imagine it.
Do you have a favourite song? Or favourite band that you like to listen to?
Just in general?
I mean, it could be to a specific genre if you want to.
Really,
I know, it's a very big question.
Wow, dude. I can't answer that.
Yeah, it's a tricky question to answer. I think, okay, what about a band that an artist that you'd always listen to, like if you were only allowed to listen to one, like a go-to one that you listen to on the bus or riding or whatever?
No, I can't even answer that. Like, what I'll do is say I'm playing games, I'll put on some music in the background, and it's either Latin, jazz, or like something electronic, or maybe something like.
So it's just more genre related kind of.
Yeah, so I just go genre and make like create a radio station or whatever it's called.
The playlist, yeah.
Yeah, like a random playlist of cool things in that genre. So I can't even pin down a genre, let alone an artist.
Yeah. I usually prefer when people say like that because there is so much to listen to with music. My least favorite form of music is rap, but I still like some rap songs. There are some really good ones out there.
The Streets, listen to the Streets, brothers.
But I mean, even personally, I don't have any. I think if I had a go-to band, it would probably just be the Beatles because they've got a wide range of different genres in itself. But also, I love a lot of their music. And I mean, I've even seen Paul McCartney live at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And my mum was like, "That's such a waste of money. It's one of the Beatles. Who cares?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've already seen Ringo Starr, and that was awesome. So I want to see Paul McCartney." It's like a 3.5 hour long show.
It's amazing, like Paul McCartney. He's just like he competes with all of the like current pop stars and like with the big arena tours and that. But he's 75, and that's just. But you'd think he'd be younger. Like.
Yeah, he was in what was it? He did a song with I think it was Kanye West, and people were commenting saying like, "Oh, it's really nice of Kanye West to like give this guy like kind of something light of his own so people can start following him." Thinking like, "Fuck's sake, this guy's been around longer than Kanye's been alive."
He knows the business.
He's been popular longer than Kanye's been alive. Like. He made pop music basically.
They made a lot. Yeah, the Beatles did a lot to music.
Like they created what pop music is today.
Yeah.
No two ways.
They really changed the sound of music to a more kind of much more
of 1625.
Yeah.
That's it.
What the hell is 1625?
Chord progression. That's what every pop song.
Okay.
And much more kind of it had a much more modern sound to it, more technical and just it was progressive and you can kind of hear like the songs of today how they're influenced by the Beatles a lot of the time. The music before that not as much. Yeah, they really changed the face of music.
It's crazy. They're like this. If you pin down one sort of band in time recently, more current bands that had a big impact on music, you can't pick anyone but the Beatles. Like they are so influential.
I don't know. Nickelback is pretty good.
I think if there was one band you could just wipe off the face of the earth, it would probably be Nickelback.
Yeah, I was actually thinking like how, because like I said before the show, I just love drumming. Even though I've never probably been really good at it because when I went to learn drumming, they put me onto the
Triangle.
No, there was it, this glockenspiel, the mallet percussion as you call it.
It's so cool.
Which, it was fun. I wanted to play the drums though. But I've always loved listening to drummers, and Ringo Starr is considered the best drummer in the world because he can adapt his way of playing to, like he can play to any type of music, like he can just adapt to it naturally. Like I said, just playing the generic beat for each type of genre. And then there's, I don't think it's Buddy Holly, I can't remember his name. Buddy something or other. A very old jazz musician who was considered one of the greatest drummers of all time. Just for how well he could play.
Buddy Rich?
I think it's Buddy Rich, yeah. I've got like a whole 40-minute long video of just him and someone else kind of like battling it out, just playing drums. It's so good. I just love listening to fast drums. Do you have any particular type of music that you love listening to? Well, I mean like a certain instrument that you just love listening to. For me it's drum and bass. And not drum and bass is in the genre, I mean drums.
It's such a cool genre.
But also bass with like bass guitar and the bigger bass. Yeah, upright bass, yeah. I love that. It's so good.
I don't know. What about you? Maybe.
I listen to a lot of music with singing in it. And I think for a lot of people, they connect to singers, and especially with shows like The X Factor and The Voice, it kind of singing, because it's so much a part of you. It's like your instrument is within you. It's not like something.
Yeah, it's not an extension of yourself.
Yeah,
it is yourself.
Yeah, and you can really like feel that and connect to it. However, you can put like a lot of yourself within to playing another instrument too. And like I play the violin, and I always find that interesting. They say it's like the closest instrument to the female voice, and it does quite sound like that, and you can kind of make it an extension of you, and the feeling can come through with another instrument too. So
how many instruments can you play?
I concentrate on singing and the violin. Play a little bit of flute.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
do you play piano?
I have a basic understanding of it. Can't play it really well though.
You can.
That's my news. I haven't played piano for ages though. It's really sad.
Well, I mean, you played it on the show.
I know. It's still, I'm practiced now.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
I mean, I was hanging out with my grandparents about a month ago, and they asked me if I'm still playing my saxophone, because I have obviously a saxophone, that wasn't obvious. Black and gold too. I've had it for a couple of years now because I played in a band for high school, and I haven't played it since we last played in the stage band at graduation. And
It's
I feel shitty for that because I'm like, it's just in my room, like literally in the corner of my room in a box because it's in its case, and it's just waiting to be played, and it hasn't been played for 6-7 months now.
It's one of those, saxophone's one of those instruments though that like, when you pick it up you have to like commit to playing it. You can't just, because you're going to make a racket regardless, so you can't just kind of potter about on it and then put it down.
Well, that's why I love clarinet. Like, as much as clarinet is the same kind of organizational things of having to put it together, actually it's even harder to put together because you've got all these different pieces, and you've got to make sure it reads all perfectly, otherwise it's going to be really bad as well as you make. Because it's got all holes instead of like caps, you've got to put your fingers on every hole individually. Much harder to play in my opinion, but I prefer it as an instrument because it's much softer and much smoother, and I mean you could fall asleep to a clarinet, but a saxophone you probably, I don't know, not fall asleep to it. Unless it's maybe a piccolo sax.
Yeah. Some bit of John Coltrane always puts me to sleep.
Because it's bad?
Whoa, dude, whoa!
No, John Coltrane's good.
Interstellar Space. It's a really nice thing to go to sleep to. Sorry?
But experimental music. Like, I've David Lynch or Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd's not all that experimental.
They're
a little bit out there, but they're not like...
have you listened? You've listened to Dark Side of the Moon, right?
That's so not experimental. Experimental is like Animals, or have you heard
what David Lynch
more
does.
Pink Floyd? Like, have you
I've
heard?
yeah, I've heard a lot of Pink Floyd.
Like their big albums, like Wish You Were Here and Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Like, there's some cool sort of stuff in it. Like, 7, 8 songs, and I put some crazy sounds in there, but they have much weirder stuff. And I've seen some weird experimental stuff, like music that was made by swinging microphones on strings over speakers to create feedback loops, and they called that music.
Yeah, I know. At uni, I'm finding a lot of people like playing like avant-garde kind of stuff, and they use looping pedals a lot.
Yeah, cool.
And it almost kind of reminds me, like, there's this subjectivity, like, it's got kind of graffiti and all that kind of stuff, art, like the painting on the walls and that. Is that art? Or is it not? And some people believe it is, and some people don't believe it is. I think the similar thing with all the avant-garde music is it music or is it not? It's so different.
Yeah, I think it's the point of, like, say graffiti is art. It can just be really crappy art. I mean, like, a 5-year-old could do better than a graffiti artist, but it's still art. Because of course, it's still probably subjective, but
I think that's a really good comparison. Graffiti and silence of music.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
I mean, you could still call most graffiti if it's just words, just someone making a word.
Yeah, that's
the thing.
Squiggles. Like, at what point do you draw the line between you're just hitting a stick on the floor and calling it music?
Yeah. I was on a live show a couple months back, and this is in a very small room. It was just folk music, and they had that recording thing for the drums, and they did a small sound, and then they clicked play, and it just kept playing, and nobody realized like straight away what they were doing, so they were all quiet naturally. So then when they did it the second time, it was like, you guys obviously know that you're using this looping pedal. Can you be quiet the second time? Some guy almost sneezed in the background, like they just finished and the guy sneezed. It was, I was disappointed. I wanted the sneeze to be like, but yeah, I don't know. Is there a laziness to music like that? So even like making music just with electronics and what's already being made on like GarageBand?
Hang on, is there a laziness?
Is there a laziness to, like, because you're not making the music yourself, you're not writing it, you're not performing it, it's just their sound that you can make from, I don't know, like on a keyboard, like the toy keyboards where you click a button and it plays a song and it's already been pre-recorded.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, like, when certain students do that at uni, how can they be assessed properly? With their performance.
Yeah, it's like the auto-tune with vocalists. It's an interesting thing with having how technology, more electronic technology I should say, has changed the face
not
of
as
music.
real, not as connected with the human.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, I'm not completely against electronic music that's being made that way. I mean, this is artist Savant I listen to that, I love his music, but some of it is kind of this 18, 16-bit kind of music that reminds me of old video games, so it has a nostalgic effect. But then he did a whole album called Cassette, which is 6 songs, which is all the same song, but like all the vocals and everything's the same, except for the fact that he does a different genre per song, and only for one song is electronic. For every other song, he actually does the instruments himself. He even did a music video for each one in the green screen room, and it's him in costumes playing different instruments all in one shot. It's very interesting stuff. I mean, the song is pretty good, but just to see that someone's made 6 different genres of music out of one song, it's fun. How about let's go with the final thing. I guess musical devices.
As in instruments?
As in what you listen to iPods.
Oh.
Well, but do you want to talk about actual instruments themselves? If you want to, I'm happy to talk about instruments.
No, I mean, I used to have like this little Walkman, and I put all my music on there. It was 8 gigabytes, and it got to a point where like I was basically having to rip off the entire library on there, and then put the rest of my library on there because I just didn't have enough space.
Yeah.
So now I only just stream off my computer.
I wish I could stream because my iPod, it's a 32 gig, but because I use like Facebook and YouTube on it and stuff like that, I only have a certain amount of room that I can use for music, and I hate that. And I hate too because my dad has a iPod Classic and it's like 160 gigabytes. And we're not going to talk about the phone because in itself I only use it as a phone, not as a music player. And it's not that big anyway, I think it's only 8 gigs. But my dad's iPod Classic is like 160 odd gigabytes. He's still adding music to it, and he has been for like 3 years now. And he has a huge collection of music, thousands of songs. Even with the music like that, say Sam and myself listen to, like I'd say crappy music for Sam because it's nightcore. So that was what he used to listen to. I don't think he even cares for music much anymore. I mean, for a long time as a kid, he hated music. It's kind of weird. He just didn't like music at all, and then he got into it randomly, and then he started listening to nightcore. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just hate the fact that, like, say, Nano's classics are not really on sale anymore.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore, so you can't buy
It's
them.
interesting, like, with the progression. I kind of use a lot of devices going back to, like, records, and I have my own little turntable. And I love records just
You
for kind of
DJ?
the nostalgia of them. And I have, like, the old records plus the new ones that you see in, like, JB that are really expensive, and
Yeah.
it's interesting. Like, they still can produce quite a good sound, like, but the older ones, they did kind of jump quite a bit, and they'd get dusty and not that practical. They're quite big, and for storage, it's, yeah.
I think
It's good having something tangible though at the same time. Like, you really can connect to it, and you can hold up a record and say, I own this. And then went on to things like cassette tapes and
that was recording the radio
and
as it happened.
yeah. And that can be good because then you can start to own something as well with that, and then CDs. iPods,
And MP3 players.
it's good with MP3 players and iPods how you can fit so much music onto it, and there's a much better sound quality as well.
I've heard it argued that vinyls still have a better sound quality definitely than CDs and cassettes, but better than like MP3 player devices.
It's so subjective.
It definitely is.
And you can't be like, because you can get an iPod or you can get like a media player that has amazing, what they call like a DAC and amp, which means that the output of sound quality is really high, but you can have really terrible like sound files. Whereas, you can have a record player that could either have an amazing speaker or just a terrible speaker.
Yeah.
I have one that doesn't even have a speaker. It's literally you put in the record so it can convert the music onto MP3 onto the computer.
That's genius.
And yeah, that's what my dad did for all of his records. The only problem is we don't have speakers to play with it, which sucks because I want to listen to Queen on the vinyl, which would be awesome. But I don't really need to. I have the remastered albums on my iPod. But that even thing, they released what was it, like the 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper's, the Beatles album. And as much as my dad wants to get like a $260 one, that's like has 5 CDs, including a Blu-ray DVD of them making it and all kinds of stuff. But it has remastered stereos and monos, and I don't think they've ever released monos for it, for the album, apart from, apparently the monos are really fucking fantastic, which I've always compared stereo as being better because, you've got a broader range of stuff, but mono, you're still hearing the music, but I don't know, it's a very weird thing to talk about. But just the fact that when they came to remastering that album, just like with the one album which is called Remix, which I don't like remixes, but this one's actually really good. It's how they've changed where like the tracks are and whatever. Like I don't exactly know how to explain it. My dad could easily do it because he does a lot of research into this stuff because he loves the Beatles and music. And just how they've remastered the music to make it sound better and how, I don't know, there's all this kind of stuff that's very interesting when it comes to music, especially the Beatles, of course. Yeah. Especially the Beatles, yes. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? I don't think I had anything else right now. If it was just music videos and musicals, and then just whatever else we could think of with music. I mean, what else do you think of when it comes to music? Laziness in music, auto-tune, and of course corporate products. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually, that's all I've got. I think, lastly, even though I said lastly before, comparing solo performances to band performances. What do you think? Do you think solos are better or harder or what? Like, I don't know. I obviously know the answer because
You
I've done
obviously
both.
know the answer.
It's a subjective thing, of course. Like,
Wow, that was really poorly phrased.
Yeah.
I obviously know the answer.
well, I know A answer because I performed in a band. Okay, I get it. Like, I performed in a band and I performed solo, and
Solo is obviously much harder because there's so much more pressure on you. But by the same token, you don't have to rely on anybody but yourself.
Yeah, so then that makes it easier too.
Yeah, so not so obvious.
well, that's how I knew what the answer was. It's a mix between the both.
Yeah.
There's challenges and needs, but there's
Yeah.
also easiest in it.
And the other thing you got to think about is like solos in group performances. So say
In jazz.
like doing, well, not just jazz,
Yeah.
country and western.
They're like, oh,
Not country. God, no, not country and western.
dubstep.
But doing a solo in a group setting, there is even more focus on you than there would be if it was just you playing solo. Because it's like
Especially when they're like, yeah, you do it. You know,
Yeah, it's
the
like
conductor calling you out.
points to you, and you have to stand
Yeah.
up. That's
Oh, those good old days in band.
Yeah, that's probably the most nerve-wracking actually. Yeah.
yeah, can you?
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what
you're not just on the spot, but like even your band
Yeah.
members are watching. If you fuck up, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, you did a good job. It's okay. You suck,
Yeah.
but we won't tell you that."
There's so many times when I've done terrible solos.
He's pretty bad at solos.
Wow.
Hey,
All
I
I've got
listened
is-
to them,
all
but I
I've got
can't
is
remember
my
any of them, so
all-time
obviously
scale.
they're bad. Nah, they're okay.
That's all I've got.
I mean, look, if you can do a solo, that usually is good enough. Because most people I know can't do solos. I'm like, how? It's not that hard. Just wave your fingers on the whatever you're playing, even on your throat, just to make it sound like you're doing a vocal solo.
with improvisation too, it like comes down to okay, well there are no real rules with it too. Like you can just play any note really.
Sometimes there are
That makes it
chords.
so much harder.
There are chords that you have to follow.
Well,
Like, say like there's a chord change for like a blues
well,
note, whatever.
Yeah,
you gotta follow.
some people say that with improvisation you can play something that's not within the chord and you can get a completely different sound and real edgy and yeah, just experiment. So,
Well, sometimes they can also take you out of the fun of the song or whatever because it's
well,
got this provided sound.
it's really solos or improvisation is one of those things that it can either be, well, you can take it as far as you'd like. You could either just be like, play the chords, play the whatever they are, the guide tones of the chords, and boom, you've got yourself a solo. Play a little blues scale on top, whatever. Or you could be like, I'm gonna create a counter melody to this melody, and you could do something crazy with your solo. So it's like a scale.
Yeah.
You can go crazy. You can just do something basic. Basic's not fun.
No, those things not fun. So many people have soloed that I know that just play the scale up and down. And I was like, why are you in this band? Go away.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I mean, don't do solos if you're not going to do anything creative with it,
That's rude. I reckon you should still solo.
Okay,
everyone
well,
should improvise. That's fun. It's good.
it's always fun, yes. I mean, this
Just
whole
keep
show
playing.
is improvised, for crying out loud.
No, it's not. It's
It
all
kind of is.
scripted.
Yeah, of course, totally. What do you want about? Yeah, I don't know who
What's
lets
it
this
say?
again. What's the line?
Yes,
Sick of
solos
this
are very difficult to play.
yeah, I can't remember my line.
Pat Dog, walk away. That's all I have.
That's on. Oh, yeah, that's on you. It's a cue to walk off, and you just say walk off. Sorry.
Change
And on that
camera.
bombshell, it's time to end the show.
It is, yes. Alright, during the credits we'll have Laura's performance, because I wasn't able to time in a good part. But I figure, like, if we have the discussion, then at the show, like with Graham Norton show, that's what they do, and it just fits
It's
in
not the
there.
Graham Norton show.
I know, it's not that great, I know.
Oh wow.
I'm saying the Mindless show isn't that great. That's good. Graham Norton. It's shit, no, it's great. Fine actually. Yeah, so we'll have down the credits, so, sorry Zach. Because his music is in more credits. That's how it always goes.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, the maker of the music. I think he's got the opening credits
Mr.
though.
Owen.
Mr. Owen.
Our favourite.
Yeah. Hello, Snoopy. Alright, well, I am Mr. Mindless. This has been Music Part 2. I've been joined by Laura Kate. You can find links to her pages and whatever in the description. We've got Laura Kate, her actual page, and I have the Gala duo in it too, because they're in that.
Yeah, the Gala duo isn't really happening at the moment, so just Laura Kate.
Both of them will be in the description, it's good enough. And then we have Lightning Finger, of course.
I'm in the description as well.
Yes, he is known as the Thunderstorm.
That's actually pretty good, I like that.
I don't know what it means either. Alright, well, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, I guess. And we'll fade it into her performance. What song were you playing again?
Runaway, which was originally performed by Shannon.
Hopefully we don't get a copyright strike. Enjoy! That's been really good.
And roll credits.
Doggy!
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, a love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together while our hearts were young. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel the pain. I wish that you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, I wonder why he ran away. Yeah, and I wonder where he will stay. My little runaway, run away. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel the pain. Wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, I wonder why he ran away. Yeah, and I wonder where he will stay. My little runaway, run away, run away, run away.
Awesome. That was fantastic.